So I see here, on Legacy, David Long, we're going to watch him play. His brother Robert Long playing Jeskai Control in the middle seat, and they have Rudy Briksza playing Esper Godpharaoh's Gift in Standard. Now their opponents, Death and Taxes, Brian Mears, Michael Ostrowski on Affinity, and Rory Rightmyer on Grixis Energy. I'm not sure that they have a good matchup in any seat right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough go.
So, turn 1 Aether Vial from Brian Mears.
I would assume that Rudy probably feels good about his Grixis matchup.
Against mid-range decks, generally Gift is pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I know I like Jeskai against Affinity.
Yep.
So we're going to go over here. David Long, we see him on the SCG Tour. In the 2-day open era, he is the player with the highest conversion rate on making the top 8. He top 8s a full 33% of the opens he enters, which that's best of any player with at least 5 top 8s.
Very good conversions.
5 opens. We see, and he also likes to just do crazy things in his lands list. Last time we saw him play Burning Wish, now he's playing Living Wish this weekend.
And this one's really nice.
Yeah, he's got 4 copies in the main. So his Wish board is now set up so he can find a creature or land card from outside the game. So I'm going to walk you through his Wish board. He's got a Sylvan Safekeeper, a Reclamation Sage, a Ramunap Excavator, a Grim Lavamancer, an Ancient Tomb. He's got 1 each of Thespian Stage and Dark Depths, and he has a Phyrexian Revoker all on the sideboard.
Thespian Stage was the find there. Recently, we did cover David playing a Turbo Depths build.
Right.
Must have just loved the Living Wishes there, and hey, just put them in lands.
Second planes here for Brian Mears. The Aether Vial should help him out from getting locked out of the game, but because Long is getting Thespian Stage, there's got to be a concern that he's just going for a fast 20-20.
Right. Yeah, losing to lethal damage technically counts as getting locked out of the game.
There is Thespian Stage. Aether Vial takes up to 2. And in this matchup, what we're going to be looking for is Brian Mears landing, locking out the 2-drops here. Right? Sanctum Prelate, huge game against specifically Punishing Fire and Life from the Loam.
Yes. You have some interplay. If he can draw his own Wastelands, or Schadenport, those are reasonable in the matchup. You have a few answers to Merit Lage, though you have to win before they set up again. You have your Swords to Plowshares, you can Flicker Wisp the 2020.
Third planes, and we see, looks like just Sanctum Prelate straight outright. It's a 1-of, but he drew it. This one's huge in the matchup. So it will lock out really most of David Long's cards.
Mm-hmm.
They pick 2, and that's what he's going to do. So, the cards that are turned off now. Living Wish, Punishing Fire, Life from the Loam are all no-goes.
And I'm looking for a Barbarian Ring. There is one in Long's deck.
Right.
That's going to be his potential out.
Right. And one of the reasons they pick Barbarian Ring as the answer, first of all, it's a land. Also, it gets around Mother of Runes, so it can be hard for Mears to protect from. Thespian Stage copied Taiga. He can, of course, just make a 20-20 and try to hit Brian with it.
Right. If Mears has a Swords to Plowshares to back this up,
right,
going to be really difficult for Long to win this game.
Here is Caracas for David Long. Concerned about that Prelate. Sometimes we see players use cards like Barbarian Ring or Molten Vortex to try to get around Sanctum Prelate in this matchup. And I do have to wonder, with such a slow start from Mears, whether or not he kept the hand based on the fact that first he was playing against David Long, and second he had the Sanctum Prelate in the opener.
Certainly possible. Also, with no creatures coming out for spells that would make sense to be in this hand, Swords to Plowshares is kind of the front of the row there. I like that he has Vial on 3 and he's just casting these creatures.
Yeah,
Definitely,
casts Mirren Crusader.
Definitely indicative of a Flicker Wisp in hand.
I do like the Mirren Crusader here too. Yeah, if he has a Flicker Wisp in hand, David may not have any action. There's just on Barbarian Ring to remove the Sanctum Prelate, and David can crop rotate for it, but
you also have to have Threshold to start ringing things. David Long has 0 cards in his graveyard.
Floats a mana. It's going to go crop rotate for ring. I guess he can ring and Thespian Stage for on the rings, so then he'll have 2 of them. That would get around a potential Flicker Wisp if he had Down the road it would, but you got to worry about him actually taking damage. Mirror Crusader is a great clock. You see that Punishing Fire in Long's hand. That's not going to do anything.
It's looking like he's just throwing a Hail Mary with the combo. Actually, he's getting Mazavith here.
Okay.
That'll buy him some time against the Mirror Crusader.
Okay, so Maze with that will buy. Yeah, I guess if he just needs a lot of time to set up shop here, that makes sense. Mirror Crusader hits pretty hard. And Thespian Stage is also copying Maze of It, so he's just digging in.
Yeah, that makes it so Mears has to produce more creatures if he wants to deal damage.
And I guess there's a line where what David does then is if he just keeps making land drops, he can get a lot of Maze of Iths, then somehow make a Tabernacle, and then start wastelanding Brian. It's possible, but he's playing very fair.
You can't wasteland basic planes.
Right, it'd be a ways off.
Are we on Ghost Quarters this weekend? How many of those do we have?
Looks like 3.
Okay.
Not the full 4. He has the main deck Bazooka Bog today as well, which we're seeing a lot of players. Even Jody Keith's playing that, which normally he doesn't in the main. Out of respect, I think land's a very popular seat on some of the top teams.
Mm-hmm. And that is a matchup where I actually like what Long's doing a lot.
Oh yeah, the wishes?
Mm-hmm. Living Wish for Raminap Excavator. That's certainly a card that's in here for the mirror.
I like how it also turns off certain surgical extraction plays. He'll always have another one in the sideboard.
Right.
First match in, Rory Rightmyer on Grixis Energy takes game 1 in Standard over Rudy Briksza.
We'll see how this shapes up over the next couple of turns. It's not really clear who's winning this game.
Sure. I mean, it looks like Brian Mears. There's a Sanctum Prelate that is not getting answered. But you're right, David now has Tabernacle, Mazes. Okay. We're going to vial in something. There's the Flicker Wisp, you're right. I guess he's going to flicker out. I like this play, the Thespian Stage. That was set to Mazavith. So first of all, it's only 1 Maze this turn. Second of all, when it comes back in, David's going to have to copy again.
Mm-hmm.
And he
so
can't.
Much for that.
Oh, wow. He's going to wasteland the Maze, swing in. Nice play by Brian.
Now it's a lot more clear who's winning this game.
Yeah. The stage is going to come back. It won't be a Mazavith, and it won't be able to become a Mazavith. Comes back untapped. David down to 9. Not sure how he's going to get out of this. We'll see if he's got a plan.
He's facing down lethal here. Can't cast that Punishing Fire in his hand. I want to say I just saw a Glacial Chasm. That would buy him some time. Not a ton of time, though. Cumulative upkeep of 2 life. That adds up fast. There's a nice interaction between Glacial Chasm, Thespian Stage, and Life from the Loam.
Okay.
Where you can keep copying the Chasm.
Right.
Make it so you don't have to sacrifice as many lands. However, if you can't cast 2-mana spells, that doesn't play.
Yeah, Tabernacle's gone to Glacial Chasm. So that's going to hang out for a while. I guess what David is looking for is he has Stage in play. He has Dark Depths in hand. I think we're on a last hurrah where he's hoping for no wastelands and no paths. Where next turn he just makes Dark Depths. He somehow survives. He pays a bunch of life, survives until copying, hits for 20, and nothing goes wrong.
Yeah. Seems unlikely.
There's a Rashad Port. There's also a Caracas in Brian's hand, so that should have it covered.
Mm-hmm.
Port, the play for Brian Mears.
In the Port here, if you use that during Long's upkeep, that would turn off the ability for Long to copy anything with the Thespian Stage for the following turn cycle. Stoneforge Mystic can really find anything. This game's kind of decided by what's already on the battlefield.
Yeah, Sword of Fire and Ice. It's going to be the find. Yeah, the redirection really is just, can David do anything before the Glacial Chasm runs out? I guess he could draw Barbarian Ring. He's very close to Threshold.
Yeah, 6 cards there.
Though at this point, he's so far behind that even if he destroys the Sanctum Prelate, not clear that he wins.
Yeah, it's not like he's flush with mana to cast a bunch of 2-mana spells from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Please find your seat.
Now, it looks like David's going to crop rotate away his stage now. So, okay, he's up to 7. He's floating a mana. Maybe we're looking at Barbarian Ring? Get rid of the Sanctum Prelate. That is what we're doing. Mana float. So,
It'd be colorless floating right now, right?
right.
Can't ring just yet.
Well, yeah, he can't ring yet. Okay, so we can get rid of the Prelate. Still a ways to go. Pays 2 life, goes down to 7. He can pay 1 more time. Going to port the Taiga, so you see David here, he'll use the Barbarian Ring. Now he has Threshold to remove Sanctum Prelate. So okay, his spells are unlocked. Is that good enough? I don't think so.
Well, now that he's tapped out.
He's got 3 Punishing Fires and a Dark Depths in hand.
1 mana source on the battlefield.
Yeah, and still 1 mana source on the battlefield as he makes Dark Depths. Passes back to Brian.
I like the 6-4 split on the Dark Depths for the 10 ice counters.
Yeah, I like getting 5 dice and putting them all to 2. Sword of Fire and Ice into play for Brian. Nothing seems to matter here, right? As far as Brian's plays, he's just kind of waiting. He'll equip it to Flicker Wisp. Okay. I like it on Flicker Wisp because this means if David were to somehow make a 20/20, he can't Punishing Fire down the 1 legal blocker.
Right.
Draws Grove with the Burn Willows. Okay, so he has Punishing Fire and Grove, but he's down to 3. The Glacial Chasm is going to go away next turn. You can only shoot down 1 thing with those Punishing Fires. But I want to give credit here. David has really made a game of this.
He's continued to make game actions and is
Yeah.
not yet lost.
Well, I mean, he could Punishing Fire here. If he draws exactly Maze of Ith next turn... Oh, no, there's a port. I was thinking it was possible. And it's that Punishing Fire. It's got to shoot down Mirror and Crusader. He needs a way to deal with the Flicker Wisp now because the Chasm's gone. He can't pay for it. But he has Punishing Fires in his hand. Looks like Brian wants to tap something down.
Not really much of a difference between the Taiga and the Grove.
Yes, I think what I'm wondering in David's spot, is there a draw that stops him from dying? He draws Mox Diamond. That's not going to do it. He'll pick up the cards. He had the Punishing Fire. He could shoot down Stoneforge. He would need, if there wasn't a port in play, he could have been drawing to a Maze of Ith. Close. Yeah. But yeah, he managed. He treads water for a while. But game 1 does go to Brian Mears. So the team of Mears, Ostroski, and Rightmyer currently up 2 games, 1 in Legacy and 1 in Standard. Said all their matchups looked kind of rough for them, but they're making the most of it.
In the modern table, Jeskai Affinity is still going on. Gotta figure that's going the way of Robert Long.
All right, we'll be back with game number 2 between Mears and Long in just 1 minute. All right, so we are back here with the match between David Long, Robert Long, and Rudy Briksza. They were down 2 game ones to the team of Mears, Ostroski, and Rightmyer. They have picked up 1 game. The Jeskai control player, Robert Long, in the middle, he wins game 1 over in Modern.
Yeah, otherwise split here. We had Mears winning there pretty convincingly over David Long, and now we're going to the sideboard games. For Brian Mears on Death in Texas, we have 2 Council Judgments, 2 Cataclysm, 2 Aethersworn Canonist, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Rest in Peace, a Disenchant, a Gideon Ally of Zendikar, a Leonin Relic Warder, a Surgical Extraction, and a Sword of War Piece. A couple really nice finds here.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
The Graveyard Hate, pretty impactful in a matchup like this. Both the Surgical and the Rest in Peace make some sense. Cataclysm is pretty nice against a deck that's trying to control a lot of lands.
Yeah, now Cataclysm is always interesting, right? Because it can be very good against a deck with a lot of lands. But if David's doing his thing right, then Brian shouldn't be getting to that much mana.
How are you taking Brian
I guess
off of
because
mana?
Brian's
the
all
basic
basics.
plain
Yeah.
stack doesn't really get wastelanded.
Yeah.
There's
it's poss-
games
yeah, there's-
if you draw like Caracas and too many things like that.
It can break up the prison lock. So fair enough. There's a lot going on. Now on David's side, he's got 4 Sphere Resistance, 2 Krosan Grip, and then a lot of this is tied up in his wish board again. So those lands and creatures are in the wish board. I don't know if he really wants to board in any of them because that's where they belong.
It can be a little slow to wish into Grim Lavamancer. You might want to have that one for turn 1. That's reasonable.
So just that station shout out, you see the for the team of Mears, Ostrowski, and Rightmyer, their team mono bant according to their shirts. Now, I do
Wait
have to
a
call.
minute.
Yeah, I know.
Wait a minute.
None of them are playing bant.
I don't agree with this. Death and Taxes is one of the colors in Bant.
All right. I'm gonna check.
Okay.
Maybe Grixis has blue.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're getting the green cards from.
No.
Maybe do we have a Carapace Forger over in the Affinity deck?
Not
No.
seeing a Carapace Forger.
No.
This is messed up.
Calling shenanigans on this.
Yeah. I'm going to have a word with their sponsor.
You are contractually obliged to be playing Bant right now.
We are the Bant team, and you have all brought shame to the brand. Except for you, Brian. You're
Brian,
okay.
he's okay.
You're on notice. You're on notice.
You're like, it's okay. It's close. This is a Bant-ish deck.
You tried. You made an honest effort.
Grixis energy just outright. That's not even close.
No. The way that blue overlaps in Grixis with Bant, not really similar.
Yeah. Bant to me always felt like a white-green shard. Like blue was kind of the odd one out.
It's the blue for like these weird gold cards that are only played in Bant decks.
Yeah, like Rock's Warmonk, if he was colorless white-green, it's like mostly works.
Yeah, a lot of blue-white cards, like Spell Queller. That's what I think of when I think of Bant.
Okay, yeah, Bant Company. All right. Spell Queller can work.
Reflector Mage.
Yeah, that's a Bant card. It's like attacky tempo blue cards. Grixis doesn't like any of those. All right, they're getting ready for game number 2. Now on StarCityGames.com, we have our weekly sale. Every week, something new on sale from the store. You can get special deals. So this last week, we have had over 1,000 Magic singles at just $1, including your crop rotations. Hey, David Long plays those ones, and your Illusionist's Bracers. That'd be, I think, the Commander one.
I don't know what this printing a crop rotate is. This dual decks lands versus the Coalition, or what's going on here?
That's not a dual deck.
Oh.
Lands.
Hedrons versus
No,
parentheses.
Keep going.
All right, I'll figure it out eventually.
So that'll be on sale through this weekend, and check in on Monday morning when we have next week's weekly sale. I once tried to make a dual deck. It was called The Land versus the Sea. No, I built the whole thing. The gameplay was super weird. The lands guy was trying to animate all their lands and hit them, and then the sea was trying to flood all the lands out.
Ooh.
It's like spreading seas versus living lands.
Premier rare was Quicksilver Fountain.
Okay, I didn't actually have to sell it, so I felt no need to include anything playable. Exploration from David Long, turn 1. He'll make Misty Rainforest to go with that forest. and Mother of Runes from Brian Mears. Interesting enough, this is a matchup where Mother of Runes doesn't do very much.
Right.
Like, they either tabernacle all your things, or they actually just shoot a punishing fire at her. She taps, and they shoot another one at her.
Right. Mother of Runes really shines against decks like Delver. Then
Yeah.
in decks like this, the prison effects,
Yeah.
decks like combo decks, that's where.
No, combo decks is scary because they might go turn on Mother of Runes, turn to Thalia, and they're just, oh, and then you lose.
You didn't have an answer to the Thalia anyway.
I had a. That's not true. I would have like one. I'd have like. I'd
it
be
was
like,
called
I would,
Wipe Away.
Yeah, I would know. I was echoing truth, and I tried to end step it or something, and then win, but that never. Anyway, Thalia can like Thalia plus Sanctum Prelate, you know, is an issue. Or Mother
Runes,
Rune
yeah.
Sanctum Prelate. Okay, like I can be cold to that one.
Yeah. David Long's less cold. He's got that barbarian ring.
Yeah, I think he just has Punishing Fire in hand already as well. Now, there's some contemplating. He's aware that surgical extractions might be in the sideboards, might also rest in pieces. So if he just exposes it here without a Grove of the Burnwells in play, they could all leave. He'll shoot her down anyway.
I mean, the Punishing Fire just gets dramatically worse once Mears untaps with Mother of Runes.
Yeah, so you still have to make the play. Here's Ghost Quarter. He can play another land if he has one. He chooses not to.
I want to see a game where David Long Ghost Quarters every basic planes out of the Death and Taxes deck.
My favorite duel deck I ever saw, I saw a Photoshop once online of duel decks Giant Shark versus Giant Octopus. That was cool. I wanted to buy that one. Battle for Supremacy of the Sea. For the record, I think one of them is just like a hill giant. They're just like from Legends or something. They're not good, but you know.
Yeah, the card
There's
that
nothing.
I know.
There's nothing that makes them any. They don't even have like Island Walk or
I
anything.
know a card called Giant Squid.
It was definitely Shark and Octopus.
Okay,
They're
because
cards.
Giant Squid is neat.
I think these cards were definitively not neat.
Oh.
That was part of it.
See, Giant Squid is a rare from Mercadian Masks, one of
Ooh.
Magic's most powerful sets. As you see, Rashad Port featured here in the Legacy format.
All right, see what David Long's up to here. Thalia's now in play, so this Life from the Loam will cost him 3. But that's fine. He's got Exploration in play, so can gets back 2 fetch lands. Can drop both of them this turn. Actually,
Pretty
it's
sneaky.
Tabernacle plus
That's
fetch
not
land.
a
There
fetch
we
land.
go.
Not a bad one to have on the battlefield. Rashad Port does not really do anything against Tabernacle, and is in fact much worse when your opponent does control a Tabernacle, as it's hard to leave up mana to activate.
Yeah, if they're trading 2 mana for 1, David's down that one. Fetches up his Sheltered Thicket. I like it when you start getting to the point where you start ghost quartering your own lands so that you can loam. You ghost quarter the Sheltered Thicket, loam all 3 back, cycle the Sheltered Thicket to recover the loam. You start getting to do real messed up things like that.
That's neat.
Thalia swings in for 2. 2 more mana will be land and Relic Warder. That can take care of the Exploration.
That shuts off the power level of Life from the Loam a little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, Long already has a lot of mana available.
Right.
Still generating some card advantage with that. Not a huge issue.
Just gonna dredge the loam.
Shouldn't take too long to get a Punishing Fire either.
Yeah, or Grove.
Yeah, if he finds a Grove, he gets back the one in
Yeah.
the graveyard.
Dredges 3 over Croson Grip and Living Wish, but he does put a Wasteland into the graveyard. That'll be fine. Here's Mox Diamond. He has to pay 1 for it. He'll discard Misty Rainforest. Now he has 3 lands in the graveyard. That's a full set for Life from the Loam if he wants to cast. And looks like he does. So loam back Wasteland, Misty Rainforest.
I kind of
And
like the
another
setup
fetch
here.
land.
Because of Mears' Thalia, Long doesn't have to care about surgical extraction right now.
Yeah, and he'll actually go ahead and take care of the Horizon Canopy with that Wasteland. You expect to see him just loam that Wasteland back every turn, as long as Brian has a non-basic in play.
Given the way the game's played out, Long probably not too afraid of surgical anyway.
I mean, it would hurt him, but he'd make it. Swing for 4. David's down to 11. So we have to give some respect for the damage that's being dealt here. He doesn't have full control of the board just yet. Dredges over Life in the Loam. Another Wasteland, and it looks like Tranquil Thicket into the graveyard.
Yep.
Still waiting on that Girl with the Burn Willows. That's the big one.
Right. He has a little bit of time, but down to 11, facing down 4 damage every turn.
Life from the Loam, getting back 3 more. Wasteland, Thicket, Wasteland.
With the Thicket, he has 1 mana left over. He still has a land drop here, so next turn, actually going for the Wasteland, so he won't be able quite yet to start cycling and loaming twice in the same turn.
He's got something for 2 mana here. It's Phyrexian Revoker. You know, that's fine just as a blocker.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Brian can attack with Relic Order into that. Big trade. Interested that actually came in. That's part of his wish board, so he's chosen to move it into the main deck for game number 2. It's bad part. It's easier to find out of the board. I guess he never wishes for it in this matchup, but drawing it's okay, kind of like right now.
Yeah. When you're facing down like an Ether Vial hand, you'd like to have Revoker on turn 2. You don't particularly want to wish for it.
On turn 3 or 4, it's just not as good.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Consulting here with brother Robert Long as to what to name. Caracas, Wasteland. Probably doesn't want to name Wasteland. He plays that one too.
Well, you cannot name lands with Phyrexian Revoker. Pithing Needle you can.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead. He named Stoneforge Mystic with it. Fair enough. And Justice Swing from Thalia puts David down to 9. Wasteland was the play.
Attention Magic players, we are 5 minutes away from closing registration for our 6 p.m. Standard Turbo event. If you'd like to play in the 6 p.m. Standard Turbo event, please make your way to the sign-in registration stage. In addition, we are looking for...
All right, some updates here. Standard is over. Rory Rightmyer is the winner, 2 games to 1. So that means David Long cannot drop this game.
Right. And he seems to have stabilized here. You see Mazavith entering the battlefield, so
yeah.
Revoker's covering the Relic Order. Mazavith now covers the Thalia.
Yeah, now there is the Wasteland in play for the Maze of Ith, but of course Long will just keep loaming it back as long as he has life points to do that with. Untap here from Brian. Draws another Wasteland. Well, this is good. Help. Each Wasteland is kind of like a shock upstairs as it gets rid of the Maze of Ith and allows an attack.
Right. Though given that he doesn't otherwise have reach, shock not the most exciting draw.
No. He'll get rid of the Maze of Ith, swing Thalia in. David will drop to 7. Remember, these players are in game number 2. Hoping to finish the full match if David wins this one. Upkeep. Still dredging Loam is David Long, looking for a Grove of the Burnwills. He doesn't find it. He finds another Punishing Fire. So when he hits Grove, it'll be good. He hasn't actually cycled his Tranquil Thicket yet either.
Yeah, given that he doesn't have the mana to be double loaming, there's really no pressure to do that.
Pointing out that Ghost Quarter under Phyrexian Revoker is on Tabernacle duty, signaling that to his opponent. He will loam back the Maze of Ith, play it again. He's going to take 2 more damage, just playing it into that Wasteland. Says go. He's got 1 extra mana in Sheltered Thicket here if he wanted to cycle Tranquil Thicket, but it looks like he's hanging on to that just in case the surgical extraction is lying somewhere.
Right.
And we go back to Brian Mears. He pays for both his creatures.
It's pretty free to just hold on to that fetch land.
Yeah. Caracas, the draw from Mears.
Cycle land, rather.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he could cycle here to hope to dredge a little faster. Eventually, he'll get to the point where he can start making land drops again, lands that actually produce mana.
Yeah, Mears only has so many wastelands. Doesn't have the requisite mana to play an activate or a shot in port because of the Tabernacle. Rory Rightmyer, the standard player, coming to help out Mears and Legacy.
Thalia attacks, Maze of Ith happens. Doesn't look like there'll be too much more. Okay, David, and you see noticing he's starting to pick up the pace here. I think he's sensing that this could be headed toward a third game. Just gonna draw. Would love to draw. Well, still that Grove of the Burn Willows, but an exploration would be great.
Yes.
A gamble would be great. It would get him Grove of the Burn Willows. And it looks like he does have a gamble, so that could start. Plenty of cards in hand. Here's 2 mana for the Thalia. It's going to go ahead and cast Gamble. Thumbs up from Brian. And I'm guessing it's Grove of the Burn Willows.
I would imagine. With all those punishing fires on the graveyard. Already has Life from the Loam in the graveyard if he has to discard it.
Yep, and that is what he's picked. He doesn't have to reveal it. We got a chance to look at it. You see he's now consulting with Rudy Briksza, standard player. I got time for Rudy. That beard is a thing of. That's great. That's new.
It's longer.
It is much longer.
Bushier.
Thespian Stage hit by Gamble. I'm into it. Good luck. And here is Grove of the Burn Willows.
The entire team's worth of beard is consolidated on Rudy's face.
Right. It's strategically, it's just they decided that was the good play.
Didn't pay off though. Rudy.
Well, maybe it's like, it's like in Team Sealed when you play the bad decks that your teammates can each have 6 rares.
Sure.
So they both go undefeated, and you're like, Rudy's like, yeah, don't worry guys, I'll take all the beard. Okay.
You win the matches. I got the beard.
Yeah. And they're like,
the beard's on me.
I'll try to win in spite of it. And you see immediately David's going to get back both those punishing fires. We go over to Brian. Running out of time to be able to win here. You see Disenchant was picked up. That could take care of the Revoker.
Which would enable him to get in for 2 damage because of the Maze of Ith.
Yeah. Tabernacle gone. Yeah, he unlocked his mana temporarily. But the issue is especially once David starts shooting down the lane in Relic Warder, he'll get his exploration back too.
Right.
Then he will quickly leave Brian without permanence.
At some point here, you have to wonder, unless there's a clear path for victory, whether it's correct for Brian to start thinking about packing him up so they can get into the 3rd game.
And here's Naturalize, or Disenchant. It'll take care of Phyrex and Revoker. Swing. Maze of Ith will untap one of the 2. David will go to 5.
And back to David Long. Back to dredging.
Dredge Life from the Loam. Here's more stuff in the graveyard. Picks up Loam. Yeah, I think he starts shooting down cards here. I think it'd start with that Relic Warder.
Well, if you start with Thalia, then you can get the Relic Order for 2.
Okay, fair enough. Starts with so you can get them both. Starts with Thalia. Thalia's down. Now he can cast that second one on the cheap. Here's Wasteland. He's going to use the mana there. Shoot down Lane and Relic Order. Get his Exploration back. Gets to make another land drop. Looks like he was going for Wasteland. He will. He'll play that. He'll shoot off the Caracas. Passes turn. Over to Brian. Draws. His board's gone. We'll see whether he wants to play any more of this game. It's down to 13 minutes. Here's Stoneforge Mystic. I don't know. If I'm in Brian's spot, I think I want to pick up here pretty quick.
Yes.
Getting Sword of War and Peace. David's going to be able to use those 2 red mana to buy back both copies of Punishing Fire for next turn.
That'll clean up the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, and then it'll start to go to work on Brian's life total. Yeah, he might not even... He may not even expose them because of the possibility of surgical extraction, so he's not going to. No real need just yet. He'll draw for turn, draws a Mox Diamond.
Not a great draw.
A little surprised he didn't loan back, but that's just fine. Sure, he seems to be in control here.
Yeah, currently no Dark Depths or Thespian Stage on the battlefield, but
yeah,
it's not hard to get both of those cards when you have Exploration in play.
Mox Diamond pitches a Misty Rainforest, so you can have more lands this turn, or more mana this turn. Casts Life from the Loam. He's holding on to that Tranquil Thicket just to protect his Life from the Loams. He's also getting back Thespian Stage, and he can use that to copy Grove of the Burn Willows, and that will let him protect his Punishing Fires. So here's Tabernacle again, Thespian Stage again. Back to taxing Brian's mana. He'll pass. Brian lets Stoneforge Mystic go, draws a card. It's a Plains, can play that, but not really going to go anywhere here. 2 swords in hand, 3 mana. He'll make Sword of War and Peace. That should be just fine for David. He uses Thespian Stage to copy Grove of the Burn Willows. Yep, that is the target. So now he has 2 ways to bring back the Punishing Fires. That means he's playing around 1 Surgical Extraction. He'll untap. Under 11 minutes remaining here.
And Long just kind of can walk it in from here.
Yeah, he may want to jog it in from here, but I agree.
I recommend a sprint, but in terms of difficulty.
Yeah, I can't see him losing from here. Draws Horizon Canopy, so he'll make another Thespian Stage. He'll make a Horizon Canopy. He's going to use Grove of the Burn Willows, gain a life, but buys back both Punishing Fires, pays to get the second one back. They're both now in his hand. No creatures yet in play for Brian, but he'll just go ahead and take care of that now before Brian draws. We go back over to Brian's side. And he'll play another sword and pass. And the modern game as well could be a buzzer beater here. And it's just as I say that, it finishes. Robert Long is your winner 2-0. Jeskai controls defeating Affinity. So if this goes to game 3, and we really expect it to, it's all going to be about that third game. We see here a lot more Thespian Stages. He doesn't have a Dark Depths yet. He'll get one. He's going to start dredging fast. Dredges Loam. Dredges over a Wasteland and a Grove. And it's going to cast the Loam. Gets back some lands. He can use that Tranquil Thicket he's picking up to loam even faster if he needs to. Two more lands.
It'll be pretty easy to set up the combo here. Still missing Dark Depths, but
cycles Tranquil Thicket to draw a card.
Plenty of capability to win the game over time with the Punishing Fires.
Yeah, another Exploration, can play another land. He'll play another Ghost Quarter. Just going to get all the lands in his deck into play. And now that this is all down to this game, I really am not sure why Brian is continuing to play it out from here. Yeah, and he's not going to. So, 9 minutes on the clock. They get to re-sideboard if they want for game 3. David's going to have to give his deck a big shuffle here. He went through most of it on the table, so it's sorted.
Right.
They're going to start this one with about 7 minutes remaining, even at most.
It's going to be tough.
All right, so we saw this one earlier. While they shuffle up, we're just going to go ahead and keep here so we can make sure to get you the entire match. Do want to talk about, though, our Season 2 Invitational winner, Ely Cassis. If you haven't seen it already, we have his token. It's the Voice of Resurgence Elemental token. Makes sense. Ely Cassis is a big fan of Bant Retreat, of these kind of modern decks.
Oh, yeah.
And this token, pretty great here.
Oh, yeah, this art is fantastic.
Yeah, so this was in commemoration of his win in the Season 2 Invitational. You can now get this token by playing in any Classic or Open here in Season 1 on the SCG Tour. So we'll be giving that one away at all our events. If you cannot make it to one of our events, they also ship in all orders from StarCityGames.com of at least $5.
Like that close-up of the art.
Yeah, that's great.
See, like the twinkle in his eye.
He looks like he's just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
So we looked there, we saw Disenchant certainly has been, and Land and Relic Warder, boarded in by Brian Mears. Looks like he boarded in the Sword of War and Peace as well. We didn't actually see any of the cards we were expecting. We didn't see any Surgical, Extraction, Rest in Peace, or Cataclysm, though I assume they're there.
Yeah, we saw creatures and equipment never combined.
David, a quick mulligan here. Brian Mears keeping. Remember, the lands deck can be very aggressive with its mulligans.
Once you start getting your engines going,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Life from the Loams, draw 3, Grove, Punishing Fire is just infinite value. Over infinite time.
Yeah, this matchup used to be pretty one-sided between the decks, but really Death and this is one of the matchups where I think Death and Taxes has just improved in the last year immensely. Last 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, well, the story of Game 1, it all hinged on Sanctum Prelate.
Yeah.
That's a
that
new
they just
card.
get to have cards like that in the main is so good. All right, and we are on our way. Game number 3 here. Brian Mears, David Long. This one is for the whole match. Mox Diamond. We'll see just how good the start is for Long. Sometimes some of these starts are just unreal. Sheltered Thicket discarded. Ghost Quarter. Tapping both. He's got a loam. Does he want to expose? Not yet. Looks like he's going to go for Living Wish. See what he wants to get with it.
Unlike Gamble, this one will be revealed.
Grim Lavamancer. I like this a lot.
Card is strong in the matchup. No turn 1 Mother of Runes, so
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Rashad and Port from Brian Mears will make Phyrexian Revoker. See if he's the name Lavamancer or Mox Diamond.
He pointed pretty aggressively at Mox Diamond.
All right, take him off the mana. Now, because of that Ghost Quarter, David could just play a land, make a mana, Ghost Quarter his own land, make a mana, loam them both back. If he has a loam, there are some plays here. Could just also have Punishing Fire.
That'd be a good spot.
That'd be great. Here's Wasteland.
Got to make some red mana to do that, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have any colors of mana right now. So I think that Ghost Quarter trick might be his play. It'd also give him 3 cards to loam back. So yeah, floats colorless, Ghost Quarters himself can go get a basic. Basic Forest, I believe, is in the deck.
The basic.
The single basic, but he has 1 colorless floating, and that's very important here because the play is going to be Life from the Loam. Now, he was down a mana to do this, so this is not without consequence.
Yeah, you can have 2 mana or you can play the game.
Yeah. In a couple turns, he'll have enough lands left. He'll have enough lands to still play to be back from where he just took himself down. He needed colored mana. That was the big concern. Wasteland in play, in hand here for Brian Mears, and it's going to be, that looks like
Recruiter of the Guard.
Okay, I assume it's going to get Sanctum Prelate.
I'm inclined to agree.
But we still have to remember, there's the Grim Lavamancer in Long's hand. This is not free yet. Long does not yet have a way to cast it, though. He has that Thicket, but there's a Rashad and Port, a Wasteland.
The thicket enters tapped.
Yeah, it's not trivial for David to make red mana right now. Now, if he draws a Grove of the Burn Willows, great. Different game.
And even if the setup is Lavamancer, chance that Mears just has Swords to Plowshares available.
Yeah, they usually do keep it in this matchup out of respect for Merit Lage. 3:30 remaining in the round. No second basic here. No basic mountain for long. He'll play
The Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale.
Yeah.
5 p.m. standard players,
those aren't
your
his
pairings
play.
for round 2.
Yeah, plays Tabernacle, so we're...
Yes, you see some lands hovering here.
Yeah, those aren't in play.
Those are lands that long loam back that Mears knows about, and he's just
Yeah.
playing his hand face up.
They're shortcutting, so he doesn't have to write. Sanctum Prelate on 2 was the play. And we drew an Exploration. That's a great draw for David Long.
Yes.
But he still's going to have the problem here as he makes Exploration that he just can't get red mana yet. Mox Diamond is being shut down by the Revoker. His Shelter Thicket's going to be hit by that Wasteland. He needs an untapped red. He needs a fetch land. He needs a Grove of the Burn Willows.
Well, the thicket's not going to get wastelanded as
He
long
wasted
just
the waste?
waste Mears tapped wasteland.
Yeah, now it does mean that if Mears wants to keep off red mana, he has to use the port. And he can't keep both creatures and use Rishadan Port just yet. He's running out of mana.
He can pay for the 2, leave the port up, and have another land drop.
So he's going to take the port down. Swings for 4, long to 14. 2 minutes remaining in the round. Plays Horizon Canopy and Thalia. Great, but none of this interacts just yet with the Grim Lavamancer in David's hand. And David draws a fetch land. David might be able to take control of this game, Ryan, but I'm concerned right now that he just can't do it in a minute 45.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard game to close. That much is certain.
Yeah. He's going to use Ghost Quarter to take care of the port. Then make Grim Lavamancer. And he has to pay for that Grim Lavamancer, then he'll pass. He needs to shoot down Sanctum Prelate and then start loaming again. Back over to Brian, has to pay 3 to keep his creatures.
And in Brian's hand, looks like he has Path to Exile and Council's Judgment.
Ooh, so no dice on the Grim Lavamancer.
He has mana to pay for all 3 creatures in Path here, but he's deliberating a bit.
Yeah. They're debating how to tap. They're below. They are low on time. They're going to let the Thalia go.
Ah, yeah, if you
Draws.
paid for all 3 creatures and don't have a land, then you can't pay for the Path with the Thalia. I think
Okay.
he drew a 5th land, but that wasn't a guarantee.
Yeah, you can't know that. He takes so long takes 2, goes to 10, 30 seconds until time. Plays Wasteland. Yeah, they're not going to be able to finish here. Here's Path to Exile for the Grim Lavamancer. Paying just the 1. Lavamancer gone, exiled. David does not have another basic. Just plays the 1 forest. And we'll get a judge. They're going to hit time. Looks like it's going to be during Brian Mears' turn. So Brian, time called. It's going to waste away the thicket. It's going to be Brian's turn 0. David will be turns 1, 3, 5. Brian will be turns 2 and 4. Now, it looks like Brian Mears is a favorite here, but I don't know that this is going to close one way or the other.
In regulation, it's looking a lot like a draw.
Yeah. Yeah, turn 1, we're on David Long's turn.
Horizon Canopy, Misty Rainforest, lands for the turn. No significant game impact from either of those.
Michael Novins, please report to table 538 for your...
Yeah, the judge called. We are on David Long, confirming David Long's turn is turn 1. That is our current turn.
438 for the standard turbo event.
And David Long has been through his taiga and his sheltered thicket. He has his basic forest there.
What are you looking for?
What this Misty Rainforest can find.
Oh.
I believe it's nothing.
Jacob Alexander.
Dryad Arbor.
Jacob Alexander, please report to customer service.
And
for
it's
a
not
lost
great.
item.
Yeah, I guess.
Jacob Alexander to customer service for a lost
that is
item, please.
the card it can still find.
Yeah, that one in the main
Yeah.
deck, likely to insulate against Diabolic
Well,
Edict or Liliana the
Yeah,
Veil.
when there's a Tabernacle in play, it's not really an appealing one to get.
Not great.
David will drop to 8 on this attack from Brian. Brian only has him to 8. He only gets one more attack in the game. So turn 3's David's, but yeah, he just doesn't have the damage to end.
Now Mears has a Cataclysm in hand, but that's not the kind of card that ends a game.
No.
Not in the literal sense.
And it's still, to me, unclear who's actually... It's not clear to me that Brian is the winner here either. You see Thespian Stage in play for long. He can still Dark Depths out his opponent pretty reasonably. He can waste away the Caracas and do just that. Turn 4 is Brian's. This is going to go to a draw, and if it play, in untimed rounds, I could still see this going either way.
Right.
So, Swing Hero put long down to 6. These players entering the round at 5-1. If the teams end up 5-1-1, we'll keep an eye on the bubble as to whether or not that means they need to win out, or whether or not 6-2-1 will be good enough.
Right. The draw, not ideal.
No, I mean, if the draw is good enough where they still make the cut for day 2, the draw is fine.
Right.
Most teams have a draw on day 2, that's fine. But if 6-2-1 is not live for day 2, then this draw is really unfortunate for both teams.
Right, yeah, then it's just a loss.
Yeah.
And Griffin Lucier, please report.
Wasteland takes care of the Last Horizon Canopy, and hands up. Yep, they're going to shake hands here. So a hard-fought match between David Long and Brian Mears, but it is not going to conclude with a winner. They go